our week 4 preview coming at you. Week 4 of the NFL. A lot's been going down in the first 3 weeks. We've had some surprises. We've had some disappointments. We've had, I mean, you name it. There's been some weird things happening. We didn't talk about Monday night, Scotty, but we saw the Bengals drop again. It's like, woo.
Sucks to suck, Cincy.
The Bengals drop another one.
It's
Another one.
It's the post-Chief effect, Chris, you know?
Ugh.
The two teams that have played after they lost to the Chiefs, and the Ravens and Bengals lost to the Raiders and the Commanders the following week.
Oof.
And yet I think I'm betting on the Falcons this week. So maybe can I change that?
Can you?
No.
You can't. I mean, you. I might be able
The game hasn't happened yet.
The game hasn't. So some strange things happening. Before we dive into some of the best bets,
All right.
hey, keep close.
Oh, Jesus.
Bo Nix is more.
He really does not like Bo Nix.
He doesn't. Bo Nix is more detrimental to our society than organized crime, natural disasters, economic downturn, the Mets, pandemics, or AI. That's
I like how the
Dude
Mets
gets
think
hyped
with
for
all
Quentin
that.
Johnson catching like 2 balls a week, but he's like Bo Nix.
Bo.
Literally might be the end of civilization.
Yeah,
if we allow him to keep playing quarterback.
Oh my gosh, keep close. You just thank you, by the way, for the 20 months, and thank you as always. But
Sycamore Pitts has a good stat out here though. Daniels has the highest completion percentage ever behind Drew Brees after 3 weeks of a season. Not just for rookies, but ever.
he's looked
Dude,
good.
like I mean,
He's looked
I haven't
good.
seen a ton of it. They have not, Chris. The Commanders have not punted the last 2 games. They have not punted the ball.
He's been.
And I don't
incredible.
know if they turned it over. They didn't turn it over on Monday night. I don't know if they did.
They did not. Monday night was the first game. I forgot if it was ever a long time when neither team punted or turned it over.
Well, I know there's definitely been a no punt game in the playoffs because the Chiefs lost to the Peyton Manning led Colts in a no punt game where Priest Holmes fumbled the ball after a 40-yard run. It cost us the game. Not holding on to that at all, but
no.
I can tell.
that
Just
was-
you
that
have
was-
just
I think that was
dream about that.
2003.
Just dream about it.
2003.
Brings back all the memories.
But so far, Jaden Daniels has looked like the certainly the best of the bunch. I mean, he threw some dimes deep, like that throw to seal the game on 3rd and 6, where I mean, a hell of a catch from
Over the
I think it was
shoulder
McLaurin-
catch, I think, right?
McLaurin in the end zone, but he's putting it on spots for him. So Duke can run. Might be a lot better than I was expecting. He's definitely better than I was expecting to start off. So we'll see how he keeps going here. But the Commanders might have actually found a quarterback. When's the last time the Commanders had a quarterback? The Commanders have never had a quarterback.
I mean,
When was the last time
they had
when was the last
RG3,
time
but they killed
Washington?
him.
Well, but they weren't the Commanders there. The Washington football team has never had. I mean, Kirk Cousins. Do we count? But he didn't really take them anywhere. So ever since they won in the 80s, did they win early 90s? Maybe. But
They did.
kind of
They
irrelevant
won-
since then. No.
They
quarterback.
won one of the Super Bowls.
Um,
Points redemption. That's up to Chris. I don't have control over that.
so what? What do we got?
Team Close was asking to add a point redemptions to get VIP. It's like I mean that could be something like 150,000.
Oh,
What does VIP get you?
yeah, we.
Nothing. Nothing really, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll do that then.
I mean, I think I just handpicked VIPs a while back. I could do that again. I could just
You
like,
did.
yeah. So we could just
Yeah, just like 150, 200,000 channel points.
yeah, I could probably figure that out one way or another. Maybe I'll have Rec help me out with that. But let's dive into this week now.
We're starting off with the matchup of the week.
Matchup of the week.
Right
And by the
here.
way, before we get into this,
Sunday night.
I want to talk about a few things that really that trends, at least from a betting perspective, going into NFL Week 4. I did this last week, and it was kind of interesting to see what the money is coming in on, right? Lopsided bets coming into the sports books. Currently, I'll read off the top action coming in on these teams.
On the lab.
81% of the money going to the Steelers -1.5. Cowboys -6, 80%. 79% of the money's on the Lions -3.5. 78% on the Cardinals -3.5. 73% on the Packers -2.5. 71% on the Eagles -2.5. And 70% on the Bengals -4.5. Everyone's thinking the Bengals are going to get their first dub because they have no choice.
They have to.
Anything that stands out on that particular group of betting trends?
Yeah, I'm on the right side of the top one there, and you're on the wrong side, Chris. That stood out to me.
Well, we're also both on the wrong side of Lions -3.5. We'll get to that.
I just don't believe in the Seahawks.
The Seahawks are. Sorry, STG. I just.
It's interesting. There are 5 undefeated teams left in the NFL, Chris. 3 of them are underdogs this week. Another one is a 1.5 point favorite in the Steelers. And then there's one that's 7.5.
Yeah, obviously, we're favorites because we're the best team in football.
You are, in fact, we're on Mari, and turns out that was proven to be a lie.
It's a trap. It's a trap. Also, some other trends to keep note on. We had the 0-2 trends last week. Now we have week 3. Here are some trends for this. Teams that are 3-0 and 3-0 against the spread are just 42% in week 4. So 3-0 teams who have covered 3 straight times in their first 3 weeks are only 42% against this in week 4. So keep that in mind for all your picks if you're making bets. Also, teams off a 20-point loss are 57% against the spread the next week. So looking at you, Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville potentially. That one makes you sick to your stomach, right? Like you don't want to be betting.
What the hell was that on Monday night? What was that? That was embarrassing.
That's just what you expect from a
stop. I know what. Yeah, I said stop. Rack. You weren't allowed to finish that statement.
I already did.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, what? I don't know. I'm about to have my second hot take come true real quick about the Jags finishing last. I don't know. They're looking.
The problem is the Titans are just
the Titans, which
being like, hold on, Jags, we might when those two teams play. I don't know. I don't know if either.
It'll be all over that.
It's the Mike. It's the Michael
are attempting to forfeit.
It's the Michael Jordan meme. He's like, and I took that personally. Yeah, they're just gonna keep out over.
Sergeant said Trevor saw ghosts, and then Joe Quills points out Trevor threw an interception to someone who died, which is true.
Bruh.
First time that's ever happened in the history of the NFL.
Jesus.
Never happened before, but it happened on Monday night.
Oh my goodness. There's a first time for everything, right? Yeah, it's wild. It's the world we're living in. So those are some of the trends going into week 4. But let's start out here with the Ravens hosting the Buffalo Bills. Baltimore 2.5 point favorites at home, 46.5 on the total. Buffalo plus 110 on the money line. Baltimore -130. This is about as even as you're going to get with 2 really good teams. This is going to be a fantastic game, and I can't wait for this one. We will have this one live Sunday night with our guest, Human Juke, who has his own channel doing all the music, and he's fantastic. Great voice, great musician. So make sure you tune in.
And also a Buffalo Bills.
And he's a Bills fan. That's right. Now, one of my leans in this one, Scotty, was that it was almost one of my best bets. I went back and forth between this one and my other one of these other bets that I placed. But Ravens minus 2.5 at home. I feel like the Ravens have kind of gotten into a nice rhythm. And I feel like they've been able to get a lot of production from their running game. Obviously, they've had, a pretty nice little boost. Obviously getting some help in the running game from Mr.
His name's
Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Chris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blanking here. It's a Wednesday. But
You thought it was Monday. That's
it's a Monday.
Shout out
Shout
unemployment.
out. Yeah. So Ravens catch Buffalo on a short week after its Monday night game at home against the Jags. But the Jags, they didn't really need a lot to get past the Jags, so I don't really put too much stock into that. But I feel like this Ravens team, they're really good in the regular season. They find ways to win. I think there's going to be a lot of controlling the ball from a running game standpoint. If you're looking at both these teams from a running game standpoint, they both are going to be doing a lot of that. I mean, whether it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. But I just think the Ravens might have a little edge here at home. If I had a lean, it would be Ravens minus 2.5 at home, just because it's right under that. If it's a close game and you're grinding out, yards on the ground, I think that there's a really good opportunity to win this game with a field goal. And if the Ravens, the problem is Justin Tucker hasn't been good. Justin Tucker has been missing some field goals and hasn't been looking good.
Washed.
So I'm putting some backing on him to get right, but I would lean minus 2.5. It's not my official bet of the week. I kind of got off it because I was back and forth. I could see the Bills winning this game as well. Bills have played really good football, even with a lot less. They've done a lot with a little in some of these cases, especially offensively. We went into the season thinking, man, who are they going to throw to? It's the Josh Allen show by himself. And what else does he got? We got some young guys on that offense, but they've been playing well. So, give slight edge here to Baltimore.
I think it's hard to look at the first 3 weeks of the season with these two teams and think Baltimore is trending in a better direction than Buffalo is. Granted, Buffalo has been gifted quite a bit these last 2 weeks between Miami and Jacksonville, but they blew the doors off them. And Josh Allen is playing at a level far superior to Lamar Jackson because he's a far superior quarterback to Lamar Jackson. Now, you like where the run game for Baltimore is headed, but let's just point out that the Dallas Cowboys have the worst rush defense in the NFL through 3 weeks this year. So it wasn't just against Baltimore. The week before against the Saints, they couldn't stop anybody. It wasn't it was frustrating watching that game. It was shocking that Dallas got back into that game because Dallas is playing some pretty bad football right now, to be honest. The last 2 weeks have looked, and all 3 weeks offensively, way too inconsistent. The last 2 weeks defensively, they've looked like the worst defense in football. So they got to figure some stuff out because Dallas is playing very bad football right now. Now, Baltimore did get that win on the road. Everything trends in my mind to Buffalo being the better team here. Josh Allen's a better quarterback. They're in a better rhythm. It is a short week for Buffalo. It is in Baltimore. Baltimore obviously needs this game more at 1-2 versus Buffalo at 3-0. But I'm taking Buffalo in a teaser, right? I made these picks about 5 seconds
Buffalo,
before.
Yeah, you have Buffalo
I teased
up.
up Buffalo to 8.5 with KC down to a half point. KC just to win this weekend. So even when Buffalo loses, they never get blown out. It's always a close game. So I fully expect Buffalo to, that's the easiest teaser in the world, Buffalo at 8.5. in my mind. Buffalo's the better team here, frankly. But in this situation, in this spot, the Ravens need it more. They're going to put everything on the line, and maybe they pull this out, but I think long-term Buffalo's the better team.
I mean, Buffalo's going to have to, if they can go through the air, I think that they're going to definitely have the advantage. Obviously, they have that's the big, separator here.
Well, yeah, there's no quarterback for the Ravens.
Because Buffalo has allowed 7th most rush yards per play, 4.7 rush yards per play, while the Ravens have allowed the fewest, 2.8 rush yards per play. So when it comes to what the Bills will try to do on the ground, it might be a little tougher against this Ravens defense, but we'll see. That's going to be an interesting matchup there. It's crazy how Baltimore has faltered a bit. 27-17 Ravens, says JT. McDermott has contained Lamar in the past, but no Milano. No
shot the Ravens win by double digits.
No. I don't. I think it's going to be, if the Ravens win, it'll be by a field goal, maybe less than. It'll be close. Not a good matchup for the Bills.
I don't think it's that crazy how Baltimore has faltered a little bit. I think Baltimore was a little smoke and mirrors last year. Little smoke and mirrors. They'll still be good this year. They'll turn it around. They're fine, but Buffalo is playing at a different level right now. Buffalo is probably playing the best football in all the NFL. Maybe, Minnesota's like the only team you could argue, but do we really believe in Minnesota long term? I don't know.
There's always a couple teams every year that we're like, we don't believe in them. Week 3, week 5, week 7, we don't believe in them. Week 9, should we start believing in them? And then we're just like, at this point, we'll buy in. And then they turn into who we thought they were. And then that's when it's like,
But they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
And we let them off the hook.
Yeah, that's what ends up just getting us back there. But so there you go. But let's move on. So all right. So you have a slight lean Bills when it comes to just like the game itself. I mean, to win. I have a slight lean Ravens. But this doesn't change the fact that it's going to be one of the best games of the week in our estimation. So all right, Broncos Jets. Now Broncos coming in hot. Spicy,
red hot,
not
1 game win streak.
They're taking a page out of the White Sox book and winning some games that no one expected them to win last week. I didn't expect them to win last week. It was just one of those things where it was like you told me, you looked at your phone, you were like, what is this? After the first quarter, you're like, wait, what's happening?
So quick question, Scotty, what's NYE?
That is New Year's Eve.
New
Year's Eve is favored by, obviously,
7.5.
Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. New Year's Eve.
It's a heavy favorite.
Broncos visiting the Jets, staying on the East Coast. They didn't even travel back home, so they're getting some team bonding on the road. 7.5-point underdogs on the road against the New York Jets. Jets have a better defense than what they went up against last week. But 39.5 is the over-under total. Money line, Denver plus 285. The Jets minus 360. Doing a whole circle on that money line. But, Scotty, this is going to be a tougher test on the road for a young quarterback against a better defense. I have a problem. I was trying to find ways to maybe this is like a close backdoor cover. Plus, you got the extra hook on the 7, so it's like all you got to do is keep this close. I like the Broncos defense and how they've played. The Broncos offensive line has played well as of this last game. So, the running game was a beneficiary of the offensive line. I thought the offensive line last week was one of the brightest spots that we've had in a long time. But it was just one game. So How much stock can you put into that? Is that going to carry over against this Jets team, who's going to be a lot better defensively? This screams Jets, and I think the Jets do win this game. I think they do win it by, it's going to be around 7 to 10 points. Didn't bet it at all, but just looking for some growth, Scotty. I'm just looking for some growth, some things that I could latch onto. There's, I'm looking at Bo Nix. I'm looking at how this team is functioning offensively, defensively. Again, they've played well against some of these teams. They haven't played juggernauts as of late, but at the same time, you mentioned that they were all winning teams that they've beat as of right now. So, put that into a perspective. It's only week 3. Jets should roll here.
Yeah, listen, 7.5 is a pretty big number in a 39.5 point total.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much shouting out that they don't think Denver's going to score much in this game at all. Denver obviously played well last week, staying out east. Gonna play New York. The Jets do have extra rest off the Thursday night game last week to prep. And listen, Bo Nix played obviously much better than he did in the abomination that was week 1 and 2. But the dude threw 36 times for 216 yards. That's not great. It's not world beating, but he's getting better. He ran the ball some. He had a nice broken tackle run play. But typically in the NFL, a yards per attempt of 6 yards is still not good. The Jets seem to, they dominated on Thursday night last week against a bad Patriots team. Maybe they're getting in a rhythm. Obviously, they have a good defense. The offense might be coming around a little bit. And I feel like, for whatever reason, Denver just doesn't historically play well against the Jets in New York. Because I really want to lead Denver here at 7.5, but I'm not touching this game either way. I think the Jets win. But yeah, just look for baby steps, Chris.
Baby
little
steps,
signs.
Little things.
Little signs.
If I can look at a game and I can see growth across some of those main, especially offensively, offensive line, quarterback, decision making, coaching, maybe some expansion on the playbook and getting downfield a little bit more frequently, like, stretching the field a little bit more. Just this little steps. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I want. If we could do that, I'll be happy. Crawl before you can walk, Scotty. But yeah, there we go. Jets, Broncos. If you force me to bet it, I would lean 7.5. The extra hook is kind of, especially with that total. It's intriguing, but worries me. I don't want to sweat it out.
I'd lean New Year's Eve.
24-13 Jets, 16-9 Jets. Weather might play a factor. What's the weather supposed to be like? Is it supposed to be?
I haven't looked at the weather. If it's bad weather, that's not going to be good for the Broncos. A quarterback that's not fully comfortable in general, and then you put weather as a factor, that does not sound ideal.
Well, it makes me love the under 39.5 a little bit more. Because Aaron Rodgers hasn't really. I don't know. He's getting older. I don't know how personally he's still doing some of these things, but
Dude can still sling it.
He can still sling it. Do you believe? Not this week. Not this week, Broncos. But they surprised me last week. I did not have high hopes last week, and here we are. They shocked me. So my dad actually texted me. He's like, "Are the Broncos going to win?" I'm like, "No shot." And
right now, maybe this isn't updated, but the site I'm looking at says it's going to be 74 degrees and mostly cloudy with an 8 mile per hour wind.
The ayahuasca.
That sounds pretty fucking ideal.
That sounds pretty great. So hey, there's some hope. All right, let's get to the next one here. Chiefs at Chargers. The Chiefs and the Chargers here going at it. Typically, we look at these games and we're just like, man, these are going to be close games. They're going to be super interesting. Well, not so fast here. With this one, we have a little bit of an issue on the injury side of things with the Chargers. The quarterback that's shown here may not even play. And I don't think he is. I think they have a bye week too after this, if I'm not mistaken. So I think
you are not.
So I think they're just going to try to get him right. So it's going to be a Taylor Heineke game, I believe, unless I've heard anything else. But the Chiefs coming in are favorites in this one. It was 7.5. I think it's a little higher now. I want to say it was 8, then it back to 7.5. So still 7.5 here for the Chiefs. Now, regardless, I feel like the Chargers typically play the Chiefs tougher than most teams do, regardless of who's on the field. But this time feels different in the sense that there's so many injuries for the Chargers that, Bosa, you're missing your top playmakers. It's going to be tough.
It's literally potentially 5 first-round picks for the Chargers that are out in this game. You got Herbert, you got your right and left tackle in Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater that both may not play. You got Joey Bosa that's may not play. And then you have Derwin James, who's definitely not playing because the suspension was upheld today. So he's suspended for this game. Not a great time for the Chargers in an important division matchup to have all these injuries. All 4 of those guys that were hurt beyond Derwin James did not practice today. Outside of, I think maybe Herbert was like a limited participant, but I almost feel like that's smoke and mirrors. This feels like Chargers have to think long term. You have the bye week after this. I prefer him to play. I'd rather play against Greg. I don't want injuries. But the Chargers do have a bye week. You got to think long term this season. High ankle sprains, give them a couple weeks to rest and heal that a little bit. JT says this screams Chargers. It very well could. The Chiefs don't. The Chiefs have won 9 straight games, and only one of those was by more than a touchdown, I believe, going back to last season. So the Chiefs are epically bad at closing the door on teams. It's frustrating as hell, but I'll take it because they keep winning. They keep winning. Mahomes admitted after the game the other night that he has not played well, especially the last 2 weeks. He played pretty good against Baltimore. The last 2 weeks, not typical Mahomes play. He's got to be better. His fundamentals have to be better at the accuracy of his throws. The defense is playing pretty well and should have a lot of success against this Chargers offense if they're missing their right tackle, left tackle, and starting quarterback. So they can kind of feast on that. But I tease this down with Buffalo to the Chiefs -1.5, I guess. So basically just got to win the game. They should win the game. No excuses. Get it done, Chiefs. It's in LA. The Chargers, they don't even have a home field advantage, really.
No.
There might be more Chiefs fans there than Chargers fans, honestly. So get it done.
No excuses. Play like a champion. The more we talk about this right now, the more I heard what you were saying, the more we were kind of I was going through it in my head. This screams under for me. This feels like an under game. Right? Because you figure
Harbaugh's going to do everything to make this as few possessions as possible.
Yeah. So, with, running the football, they're not going to, their Chargers are going to struggle scoring, protecting Heineke, right? So, I don't see them moving the ball down the field just left and right. And then once the Chiefs get up, I feel like they, play it safe. They kind of play smart football that once they got the lead,
it's kind of football. It drives me nuts. It's dumb football.
They just they take their foot off the gas a lot of times because why throw out all your playbook and why go through just keep it chill, right? it screams backdoor cover, which is why I'm scared of it, and I teased it down as well as one of my best bets. I'll talk about who I have it paired with in a little bit, but I teased them down as well. But this, if I had a bet in this game, if otherwise, the under feels really, really good. So maybe keep an eye on that. I think the over-under total, is it still sitting around the same? 39.5. It's actually dropped a half point. So go in that direction.
That's a baby number, but you could be right. I mean, the Chargers may not score 10.
No. And again, let's say the Chiefs get up like 21-10. They're just going to run the ball, and they're just going to keep, they're just going to, play it easy, right? So, yeah, I can see it. What's up, Piglet? How we doing? How's your Wednesday so far? Welcome in, everybody. By the way, hit that follow button if you guys are enjoying all the content. We are live every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights. All right, Chiefs. We both like the Chiefs. Tease down. And actually, I don't even think we're talking about the other team, so I will just share what I have teased. Oh, yeah, we are. Never mind. Scratch that. Vikings at Packers.
I was going to say, isn't it? Never mind.
Yeah. Vikings at Packers. The Green Bay Packers, 2.5-point favorites at home. 43.5 is the total in this one. Minnesota plus 120, Green Bay minus 142 on the money line to just win the game. Now, this one, Scotty, is going to be interesting. Do we have confirmation that Jordan Love is officially ready to go? I know he's started practicing. But
no confirmation
this
yet.
number doesn't indicate that he is currently, in my opinion, playing as of right now. Now, if he does end up getting cleared to play, I think this number.
I think this number has to imply that he's playing.
You think so? Because I think it should be like 3.5 if he's playing. I think it's another point maybe if the other direction.
Let's be clear: him versus Malik Willis is more than a point.
Well. You might,
it's a lot more than a point difference.
So even if you get 3.5, 4, I feel like you're getting value here if you're betting Green Bay. I'm just worried that maybe they're going to take it slow with him, but we still are trying to figure that out, right, Scotty?
I think Jordan Love will play this week. I think he practiced last week, I believe, leading up to the game, but then didn't play. I think Jordan Love plays this week. And I think this line is built. I mean, otherwise it doesn't make sense. I put Malik Willis on here because I wasn't paying attention. And also, let's give him, he's a great running back.
It's my quarterback.
But I honestly think Jordan Love will play this week, and that's built into the line of Green Bay being favored by 2.5 against a Vikings team that's been one of the best two teams in the NFL thus far through 3 weeks. I mean, they've not only won, they've won convincingly for the most part.
Giants, Niners, Texans. I mean, the Texans one was the most impressive one, obviously, because the Texans, have been...
Niners were healthy for that game. That was impressive, too.
Yeah. Niners, yeah.
I think the Texans haven't played that good so far this year. So I think the Niners game, even though the Niners are now 1-2, but I think the Vikings have played well. So, but the Packers, props to them getting 2 wins in Jordan Love's absence. If he is able to come back, it'll be interesting to see, like, if they continue to the defense balls out like they have. Because Sam Darnold is like a different human being right now than we've ever seen Sam Darnold be. It's going to be dangerous.
Vikes are balling, says Black Market. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to take away what they've been doing. Obviously, they've really they're one of the biggest surprises of the NFL, I think, going into Week 4. The Packers, I mean, it was kind of fascinating to see the fact that they won last week with Willis. That it was just like, wait a minute, I didn't really think. I mean, again, it was against the Titans. Titans are just absolutely awful. Beating the Colts, which we've kind of had some questions about, as well, and they lost to the Eagles. So Packers in this one, if I had a choice, I feel like the Packers at home. We have. I mentioned that stat again. 3-0 teams that have been covering spreads, and kind of what that looks like going into another week. It's like, what is it, 40-some%? I think I said.
42 is what you said.
42% going into week 4. So, based on the trends, based on how the Packers have playing, the Packers have been playing some decent ball as well. My slight lean here would be Green Bay at home, -2.5 to win it by a field goal. Close games. We know Minnesota can once in a while play some close games, especially in the division. Division games are a little bit grindier than most, but I would probably lean Packers.
Did you just say grindier?
Grindier. Yeah.
Urban Meyer's not in the league anymore.
What's that?
You don't have to use that word. Urban Meyer's no longer in the league.
Fair enough. Anyways, slight lean to Green Bay for me in this one. It was too close for me to pick, so I just left it alone. Didn't want anything to do with it. But if Jordan Love plays this game, I
thought you teased the Vikings. Did you not?
No.
No, he
Did I
teased the
make that
Saints,
up?
I think.
Yeah, Saints are my other team. That was my teaser.
Just
So,
kidding.
um,
Joking.
Yeah. So Packers, if I had to choose, I lean Packers at home. Nice home field advantage as well. Outdoors, I feel like that's gonna, on the road in the elements. Not that it's gonna be super. What's the weather like in Green Bay nowadays? What's the weather like for this game? I don't even know.
It's gonna be 92 degrees in Colorado tomorrow, Chris.
It's gonna be insane.
I'm
You
mad
sound
about
excited.
I'm mad about it. It's the end of September. What are we doing? What are we doing?
And you hate the cold, but you're even like over the 90 degrees.
Yeah, let's just have a chill, like 73.
Solid 72, 73. You can never go wrong with sunshine. That's all you need.
You can go very wrong with sunshine. Just ask the Jaguars.
I see what you did there.
Pretty sure Vikes have second most points and second least points against league wide. But don't quote me. They've been playing good ball.
I know they're
Too late.
I don't know they have the second most points. I don't know about the second least points off the top of my head, but I do know they have the second most points. But it's probably a pretty easy way to find that out.
For snowfall, and you'll want 92. Probably. Scotty sees snow and he's like, no, I need hot weather.
Where do you live in Colorado then?
Yeah, it's fair. I hate it. I hate snow. It does. There's no good thing that snow brings.
Yeah.
It's like it's so pretty. Yeah, like the first time you've seen it, and then it's kind of like whatever. It's just a pain in the ass to get around.
So Packers Vikings has the potential to be a potentially really good game. And again, if Jordan Love plays, like to see what that game looks like. But there you go. Anything else, Rec, Scotty, on this one?
No, sir.
It'll be interesting to see no matter which quarterback plays. Packers have actually done well with Willis, won both of their games with him.
Yeah. STG, snow is great. It keeps you inside all day. Yeah. Unless you got to go somewhere.
True.
Have you considered not going anywhere?
Yeah, let's just not go anywhere.
Now I'm unemployed, so I'm not going anywhere.
All right, we got the battle of the NFC South coming up at you next. I alluded to this game as one of my best bets of the week, as one of my teaser picks, but Saints at the Falcons in this one. Saints are 2.5 point underdogs on the road in Atlanta. Over under total set at 42. New Orleans plus 120 on the money line to win. Atlanta minus 142. Scotty, what do you like in this one?
Yeah, this is one of my bets of the week. I like the Falcons, which maybe I shouldn't, because I did talk about the fact after you play the Chiefs, there's a letdown the next week. I get a 2.5 on a Falcons team that, on paper, first of all, should be far superior to the Saints. We have a Saints team that played phenomenal in the first 2 weeks. Well, they beat the Panthers the first week. And the Cowboys, who honestly are struggling quite a bit. And then all of a sudden, after scoring 40-plus points in their first 2 games, they drop a 12 last week at home against the Eagles. So I think we're eventually slowly trending into the area of the Saints are who we thought they were, Chris.
Yep.
I don't know that they can continue at that clip. You have an Atlanta team that I think is getting better and better each and every week. Obviously, new quarterback, new system, new coach, like all those things kind of take time. But I think this is where the Falcons turn a corner. I think they beat the Saints. I think they beat the Saints convincingly. And I got the Falcons minus 2.5. Ain't no thing. They're going to take care of business at home.
We got Falcons by 6 in the chat. Falcons defense will carry him. Yeah, and for me, there's a lot of interesting things happening with the injury report. I think Alvin Kamara for the Saints is questionable, but with ribs or something, so he's a little banged up.
Make sure he has all those.
Yeah, you might want those. Yeah, the injury report is a little bit deeper for New Orleans than Atlanta. And I think Atlanta still. I feel like they're still kind of getting up to speed. They're loss against the Steelers, loss against the Chiefs, but they had that 1-point win against the Eagles. So I mean, they're stumbling through a couple of these opening games, trying to get in a rhythm. They're playing a division rival here, which I think is going to be a little bit more competitive, even given some of the injury news. But that being said, I teased the New Orleans Saints plus 8.5 in this one to be paired with KC minus 1.5. I think that this will be a somewhat close game where, maybe a 7-point game, maybe the Falcons win this one in a close one, but which still, I got New Orleans plus 8.5, which will help me on my teaser. So one of my best bets of the week, New Orleans plus 8.5 to keep this one closer on maybe a backdoor cover even. So I believe the Falcons are down 2 O-line starters, I believe, says JT.
Yeah, they got hurt against the Chiefs.
I haven't seen if the Chiefs.
I haven't checked if they're still out or not, but if they are, then I'll take the Saints.
Let me take a look. I'm sure they're not practicing right now. Yeah, Caleb McGarry's not practice. He was the only DNP. He's the only one on the injury report or the site I'm looking at right now for the Falcons. So maybe just no, but then it lists Cesar Ruiz also out. So
that's for the Saints.
That's the Saint. Yep.
Saints are also decimated with injuries.
Correct. More so than the Falcons. If the Falcons just have one guy on their injury report right now, you'd probably say that's not too bad. And literally, they only had one guy in their injury report, and it was a DNP, and it was Caleb McGarry, an offensive lineman. So sounds like I think the other offensive lineman was, I forget his name.
The center.
He should be good to go. He practiced today, so they'll be down 1 potentially offensive lineman. Still not great, but pretty standard in the NFL these days to be down 1 offensive lineman. It feels like.
Yeah. Joe, right. Thank you, Joe, for the 8 months. Appreciate that, love.
My man.
Thank you, Joe, for the Twitch Prime sub. All right, let's get to the next one. Let's get to Eagles at the Bucks. By the way, shout out to Joe. He does his streaming. If you're not following Joe, go follow Joe. He does his show. I think every so often.
Joe does a show.
Joe does a show, and he does a great one. So go make sure you're following Joe and go watch his shows. I was trying to catch up with you on the last one, and then something popped up. So I'm going to try to make it to the next one. 4 nights next week. Let's go. Get that time in. Love it.
4 nights starting next week. That's a lot.
Let's get it.
Best of luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Keep it going.
Eagles at Bucks. Philadelphia -2. 2-point favorites on the road in Tampa Bay. Total set to 44. Money line 130, minus 130 for Philadelphia, plus 110 for the Buccaneers. Bucks had that loss to the Denver Broncos, my boys, last week. Otherwise, they would be 3-0. But coming into this one, 2-1, 2-1 against the spread. Same as the Eagles, though. 2-1 and 2-1 against the spread on that end. So that being said, this will be kind of an interesting game in the sense that the Eagles, I think that they've had their moments where they haven't looked quite as sharp this season. Bucks kind of came out the gate strong and really laid an egg last week. So, Scotty, where are you at on the Eagles Bucks in this week's matchup?
Speaking of injury reports, I mean,
It's
the
wild
Eagles,
for this one.
The Eagles don't have a ton of guys that are going to be out, but there's likely 3 guys out that are pretty damn important.
AJ
Being
Brown.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, who took a vicious hit last week in that game against the Saints, and Lane Johnson, who suffered a concussion last week. We'll see where he progresses concussion wise. You never know with concussions, but oftentimes you miss the following week as well. So Lane Johnson, maybe the best right tackle in the game, along with your top 2 wideouts for the Eagles, could be problematic. The Bucks are looking to bounce back. They had like 3 big defensive players out, 3 of their best defensive players out last week against Denver. So they basically had a backup squad against Bo Nix. Just want to throw that out there. Reminder.
Dominated.
But they might still, Antoine Winfield. But I don't know. This feels like, let's go back. I mean, this was a playoff matchup in the opening round last year where the Bucks absolutely dominated. So do the Eagles want some revenge? Potentially. The Bucks playing as poorly as they did, you'd think they'd want to bounce back and get back in rhythm this week after just laying an absolute egg last week. But it's hard to say where this will go. Philly favored on the road without their top 2 wide receivers is tough. Is tough. Like, you can hand it off to Saquon and hope that gets you going, but and obviously Dallas Goedert had 170 yards last week, so maybe they just throw to him every time. I don't know. But the Bucks need to get back on track. It'll be an intriguing game. I think this will be a close game. I really do.
Line actually moved down to minus 1.5 since creating this graphic, so it's going the other direction. But yeah, I agree. 44.5 it's 44.5 now for the over under total. So interesting trends moving in this. It's hard to both these teams kind of have their high points and they have their low points. And I think that just cancels out for both of them, right? Like, Saquon has been a nice little piece that they've needed, but to miss all those other pieces, I think, is big, which is why Tampa's going to be in this game throughout, I think. So at home, Tampa, they got embarrassed by Denver. They didn't, it wasn't a great scenario there. I think Tampa plays a little bit tougher this week against the opponent that they did have that familiarity with in the playoffs. Yeah, this could be a close one. And if you're basically just picking a team to win on this one. So, if I had a lean in a close game, you always kind of take the points. Maybe a slight lean to Tampa. Again, I saw most of the money coming in on the Eagles. 71% of the money is coming in on the Eagles, but that was at minus 2.5. So this line has moved a whole point. Changes things a little bit, but it's going to be close. It'll be interesting. Rec, anything else on this one?
I mean, both of these teams underachieved a lot last week, so I guess it'll be fun to see which one bounces back.
Both on
the Eagles won. The Eagles won last week against the Saints.
Yeah, they won. They looked like shit. They didn't score until the fourth quarter, but they looked like trash in the process, but they won.
On the road against an undefeated team that blew out their first 2 opponents, so they won ugly, but that's what your team does every week. So weird
so
that
you call that
out. But my team is coming off 2 straight Super Bowls. It's a little different.
Yeah.
Right. A little different.
Yeah. Luckily, my team just found their franchise quarterback.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they What? You're a funny guy.
All right. Speaking of your boys, hey,
Why do the fraudulent Chiefs continue to exist? Mahomes is mid. The refs always give the calls to the Chiefs.
hey,
Yeah.
Evil, welcome in.
Don't pay attention to the facts that don't care about your feelings. Just go with your feelings on the Chiefs always getting calls.
Well, good. Thank you for the 100 biddies there, Evil. Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate the love. Let's get to the next game. Let's get to Rex boys. Steelers at Colts. The Pittsburgh Steelers -1.5. In this one on the road against the Indianapolis Colts. Over under total set to 39.5. Money line Pittsburgh +125, +105 for Indy to win the game.
I think that's a -125.
Yeah, -120. Sorry, Pitt -125. Did I say plus? Rec, I'll let you go ahead. Go talk about what's going to happen in this game.
So, I wrote an article about today, should be out tomorrow for Steeler Nation, but the Colts have the second worst run defense in the league, while the Steelers have ran the ball the second most in the league. So, it sounds like the Steelers should overall, unless something incredibly stupid happens, Steelers should be able to just pound the rock against the Colts, get like 100, they have to get over 100 rushing yards in this game. The Colts, of course, they're also without DeForest Buckner. That doesn't help them in the slightest. They might be without Kenny Moore, so the passing game could get going as well. We saw Justin Fields improve last week with the accuracy and the decision making. He looked solid last week against the Chargers, even if they were battered. I mean, unless something incredibly stupid happens, Steelers should win this. I'm being hesitant because stupid things always happen when the Steelers should win the game without much of a problem. So I'm still a little bit worried on that front.
Yeah, I think so. The only thing that worries me here, this is one of my best bets of the week. And keep close, and all of you guys. Last season, I had a boycott of betting.
We lost Scotty.
Steelers. Yeah, we lost Scott. I don't know where Scotty went. We'll get him back. He'll be back soon. Don't worry. Last year, I said I was off betting Steelers and Panthers. I bet them a ton. They absolutely torched me. And I'm back on the horse for this year. I'm back on the horse. Sorry, keep close.
Keep close.
Keep close.
Calling you by your full name.
He's like, oh no. He's like, what just happened? Sorry, I'm relapsing for the 2024-25 season. And if it bites me in the ass, I'm done. I'm done with the Steelers. But this just feels like a spot that the Steelers should win this game. The only thing I'm worried about is the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers 3-0 despite averaging only 4.6 yards per play. They avoid turnovers for the most part, but when it comes down to it, Anthony Richardson, this offense is going to have some trouble with this defense of Pittsburgh. This might be one of the better defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL, the way they've been playing. Now, Anthony Richardson, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles. He's had trouble, trying to keep the ball on their side of the field. Jonathan Taylor got, going this past week a little bit more, but they shut down Bijan Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, some of these other guys that, are pretty solid running backs. It's a 3.5 yards per carry. I think that that's going to be a big factor in this game. The Indy run defense isn't very good, and that's what typically the Steelers like to do in their game. So I just think there's just too many things here that really kind of lend themselves trending towards the Pittsburgh Steelers to, give this Indy offense some trouble and also be able to give this defense some trouble with running the football against a team that can't really, stop it as effectively as maybe some other teams. So I have Pittsburgh -1.5 in this one, and I think they just win this game in a close one.
I totally
You're
don't agree
muted,
with you, Chris.
Scotty.
Why am I muted? I'm not muted.
No, you're not. You're good. I can hear him.
Really? I can't.
Hold on. Let
Oh,
me see.
it's terrific that Brett can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think I can hear you.
Anyone? Chat? Can you hear me? Can you hear
I'll
me?
even come back.
Yeah. Keep close. Get out of here. Or keep close so that he's not muted. All right? They hear me. Listen, it's unfortunate that Rhett can't hear me, but I love that his quarterback's averaging 170 yards passing a game, and he's like, we found our franchise QB. We did it. We found him. Just out of nowhere, found this guy that's able to throw 170 yards a game and look good 1 out of 3 weeks. The other 2 weeks he looked like trash, but hey, he's got a good week, like Bo Nix, so he must be great. Yeah, I have. Listen, obviously these teams haven't. The Steelers 3-0, defensively been dominant through 3 weeks. The Colts 1-2, even won last week against the Bears in like ugly fashion. A lot of turnovers going both ways. Anthony Richardson obviously needs to be better with the ball, but like an aggressive Steelers D, I think they can beat him a little bit over the top. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Colts need this game more. The Steelers are. I don't think the Steelers are like bad by any means. They'll probably be a playoff team, but I don't find them a legitimate threat to compete for a Super Bowl. I just don't. The offense isn't good enough. The defense, once it plays someone really good, can get exposed, I think, a little bit. They've played some pretty weak offenses thus far. Listen, everything says you probably should go with Pittsburgh -1.5 here, Chris, but I think when you did your trends, Pittsburgh was the most bet side of the week.
Yeah.
And here you are still taking them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go against that.
It's a little.
I'm going against that, and I'm taking Indy at home to get to 2-2, beat Pittsburgh, and maybe we see that Pittsburgh's a little more fraudulent than people are talking about right now.
I mean, Mike Tomlin, 25-6 versus rookie quarterbacks. I know. I mean, Anthony Richardson's basically a rookie.
He's not a rookie, Chris.
He's basically.
You can't do that. Can't do that.
He didn't really get a ton of time before getting injured last year. Pittsburgh has covered 6 in a row. Steelers are 7-3 against the spread on the road since last year.
Oh my gosh. I actually might bet this game more and more the more that you throw out these trends. I love Indy more and more every time you say these things.
I mean, hey, a lot of people, 81% of the people who love Steelers -1.5, they're gonna be cashing in.
I love Indy. I love Indy in this game. I wish Rec was here to hear this. Or are you here, Rec? Can you hear me? I don't know. He gone.
No, now you can't hear him, I think.
I don't hear you, Rec. Are you talking?
Hold on, wait. Hold on, wait.
I hear him. Unfortunately.
Hold on.
Of course there's a reason.
I am scared of this game.
The Steelers are not a dominant football team. So they could literally lose any football game. So to say there's no reason they should lose this game is wild. There's a lot of reasons they should lose this game. They scored 1 touchdown the first 2 weeks, and they were tied until the last week in a game against the Chargers until they got decimated with injuries. And the Steelers poured it on at the end in a game that was tied through like midway through the third quarter.
From blue to green, I'd be curious to hear y'all's top 5 power rankings.
Chiefs at 1.
Chiefs 1, obviously.
Chiefs at 2. Chiefs at 3. Chiefs at 4. And probably Chiefs at 5.
I mean, I feel like you got to have Chiefs 1. You got Bills, maybe Vikings in there. Vikings have looked really good as of right now. I think
from blue to green. How can I not put the Bills at 1? Because I know what the Chiefs do to the Bills in the playoffs. That's how.
the Chiefs, regardless,
3-0.
they find
3-0
ways to
against
win.
the Bills in the playoffs.
Like the Chiefs they just feel
So,
like
like,
they're just always going to win.
the
So
Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and while they haven't played very well, they're 3-0. So it's hard to not just
Yeah.
you got to put them at 1, even
Yeah,
though they haven't played very
Yeah,
well. this year.
Mahomes has been playing like Justin. Actually, he's been playing more like Bo Nix than Justin Fields.
Well, that's aggressive. Squan, because we all know the Chiefs have some extra help. Yeah, that's just false. But listen, I get it. I get it. We need a villain in the league, and the Patriots are no longer the villain. So now the Chiefs, because they win all the time, are the villain. So people emotionally, and plus they're on, national TV in the feature game like every week. So they're more out there for all these calls that you think go the Chiefs' ways, which is just ridiculous if you actually look at it. Because I think since Mahomes has been quarterback of the Chiefs, they're the 5th most penalized team in all of football.
Hey, Scott,
in
just so
that
you
time.
know, I don't think anyone asked for how you think the refs call games.
Listen, everyone's admitting their feelings. It's not a reality. It's more an emotion where what I will bring is facts. And facts are they do not get the benefit of calls in the games or officiating. If you look at the thing called facts, if you want to put your emotion in there, then sure, the Chiefs get all the calls, including the 3 calls that went against them on that last drive that Atlanta had that set them up where they were at the end of the game. And oh, by the way, Atlanta couldn't get 4th and inches, and that's probably the refs. The refs won the game because Atlanta couldn't get 4th and inches.
Apples. Cowboys times 4. Cowboys. Except for the fact that their defense isn't up to the speed that where it needs to be for those top 4 spots. There. Apples. Let's see. We got other rankings in the chat. Bills, Vikings, Chiefs, Packers, Steelers. We got Chiefs, Bills, Vikings, Seahawks, Seahawks I struggle with. I feel like the Seahawks, sure, their record says they're 3-0. I think when we talk about, throwing around the word fraud is something that people love to do. I just think their strength of schedule so far doesn't lend itself. Yeah, it's purely on record. Keep close. I don't know if I truly believe in them quite as not much, but.
Anyways, in this game, Steelers are better than the Colts in nearly every facet, which is why they should win the game, but maybe won't.
All right. Well,
I mean, as long as the Steelers actually do their homework, they should be 5-0 because they got the Cowboys next week, who are even worse against the run.
Well, that's all. That's week 5. We'll get to that in a little bit. I think the Steelers Colts game, considering we've had plenty of debates on it, what just makes it that much more interesting for us here in the Action Lab. So I can't wait to watch it. I'm going head to head against Scotty, so both of us can't go 4-0. But here we go. Let's have some fun with Steelers and Colts. Final game. Speaking of Seahawks, we talked about them 3-0. They are taking on the Detroit Lions. Detroit at home, -3.5. Total is 46.5 in this one. Detroit -180 on the money line. Seattle +150. This one is Scotty. Both of us have the same bet on our best bets of the week. We both like the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks obviously have had pretty favorable matchups thus far, getting Miami last week, who didn't have a quarterback, and they have to address that and figure that out. But along with Denver and who they beat the other week, somebody else that's trash. I forget already.
Oh, for
Seattle.
They beat Denver.
Yeah, they beat Denver.
Said Denver and Miami.
Here, they beat.
It was the Patriots.
By
3.
So they they beat the Broncos with Bo Nix in his first ever football game in the pros. The Patriots without or just the Patriots, I should say. And here's the thing:
Talent.
a Patriots team
Yeah,
without talent only by 3 in a nail biter.
Overtime. What's
yeah.
overtime?
In a nail biter, yeah. So I mean, they struggled with the Patriots. They struggled with the Broncos in Bo Nix's first ever game where he played awful, and they played a Dolphins team without Tua and Skylar Thompson and company. So I guess I'm just trying to find that first game for them that has really been a challenge, and even the ones that they've played, it hasn't been pretty throughout the game. So that being said, they're playing a quality Lions team here, Scotty, in the Dome, where we know the Lions feel comfortable. It's going to be a primetime game. It's going to be true home field advantage for them here with Seattle on the road. And I think this is where their first challenge hits in this NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions historically under Goff and through this regime, one of the biggest home field advantages in football. They play very good at home. This is Monday night. The Lions have looked a little inconsistent, but I think this is finally where the offense pops off. They haven't been good in the red zone, or they had a couple 4th and short conversions that they didn't hit on against the Cardinals last week. This just feels like a spot where the Lions absolutely demolish the Seahawks. Like, I could see them winning by 3 touchdowns. Like, it's that much. I think the Lions pour it on. They show everybody that they're for real and they're here. Seahawks starting off 3-0 are feeling good, but like maybe coming a little overconfident after playing 3 pretty bad football teams thus far. Very bad football teams thus far. No offense, Chris.
None taken.
And squeaking out a couple of those games. So I don't trust the Seahawks offense. They haven't been consistent enough. I think the Lions poured on. I think the Lions win by a lot here. I think this one's obvious, to be honest, which is probably why the Seahawks will
win. Which is why the Lions have 80% on -3.5, and this line hasn't moved. This line is just...
he's regaining his life choices now.
This line is sitting... Well, I have it too as my best bet at -3.5. So both Scotty and I are on the same bet. Like, it seems like this should be the case, but I'm not loving the fact that, some of this line hasn't gone to 4.5 with all the money and all the different tickets coming in here for the Lions. So interesting here. Seahawks have some pretty good young DBs. It would definitely be a statement win for the Seahawks if they were to pull it out. That would be the biggest. That would be the best win for them. It would be
It would be, but let's be honest with each other. The Seahawks have 0 chance of representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. 0. Like, not 0.5%, not 1%, not 0.25%. They have 0%. 0. So it might be a statement win, but it still won't matter because they won't.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
They won't play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They won't play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl
because the Chiefs won't be there either.
Okay, your Steelers will. Okay.
Yes.
3.5.
20-0. Let's go.
3.5 at home is telling though. I mean, the fact that the line hasn't really shifted is interesting.
I know, like is it injuries? I know Laporta. Is Laporta hurt?
Laporta's questionable. Brian Branch questionable.
Laporta hasn't been used when he was healthy, which is interesting.
Thus far this year, that's true, but obviously it was a big factor last year, so something still to account for. But
questionable Frank Ragnow, center for.
It's not good
for Detroit. He's got a pectoral issue happening. On the other side, though, Kenneth Walker III questionable. Byron Murphy II questionable with a hamstring, defensive tackle. Leonard Williams, defensive end, questionable. So I mean, it's hard not to like the Lions in this spot. Now it is a primetime game and we're early in the season, so the under is always live. So primetime unders, maybe a sprinkle. Maybe the Seahawks don't score as much here. Maybe the Lions. I mean, Lions do tend to put up points when they do. So
They
Not-
tend to put up points when they do.
not touching it though.
That's-
When they actually decide they
When-
want when they decide they want to
The
score.
Lions tend to put up points when they put up points.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
really put up
Yes.
points. It makes it all makes sense. See how that works.
And when they don't tend to put up points, they don't.
They don't. It's
Pretty weird. Like it's weird. It's a bizarre stat that you threw out there, Chris.
exactly. See, I mean, I'm only bringing you the best analysis on this side of the world, right? The over is enticing, says Sargent. I don't know. Primetime games early in the season. I'm leaving
like
it alone.
30 to 13 win. Chalk it up.
Chalk it. All right. So there you go. Those are the best matchups we are looking forward to this week. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at our recapped best bets of the week and see where everything is landing. So, Scotty, we talked about all these games. So, actually, except for one on mine. But go ahead, run down your board.
Yeah, we just talked about the Lions. I got -3.5. Indy's going to win outright against the Steelers, who are frauds. Atlanta's going to show they are the team to beat in the NFC South, beating up on the Saints. And then Buffalo doesn't lose by more than a touchdown. And KC, if they don't win against a Chargers team that's decimated with injuries, I'm going to be pissed.
Then Scotty might not show up to the show that night.
Speaking of Kareem Hunt, I'll hunt everyone down on that team. Is Kareem Hunt starting for the Chiefs? He was moved to the active roster, so he will be likely playing. At what capacity, we'll see. But he likely will make his triumphant return to where it all started, Chris, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say, like, speaking of Kareem Hunt, I'm going to kick everybody inside.
Yeah, he's probably going to kick some ass, Chris.
Nice little reunion here for Kareem.
Yeah.
So I'm on the other side of Pittsburgh. It just feels like there's a lot of things that should go. And again, this is me relapsing. This is the first time I've bet on Pittsburgh in over a year. If they do it to me again,
I actually think I'm gonna put like
the most
minimum $300 on this game now. I feel so good about ND.
You love Aaron AR. You love AR to carry.
He loves his AR-15s.
You know, you love your AR to not turn over the ball and all. Hey, against a good defense. Good for you. We'll see. I have teased New Orleans up to 8.5 in what I think is going to be a close divisional game with Atlanta. KC -1.5. Again, like what Scott mentioned, they just have to win against a bad or beat up Chargers team. Detroit -3.5, like we talked about. They're just this seems like a spot where they could just unload on a team that, you know, has had a kind of an easy route so far to 3-0. And then my last one is Miami, Tennessee under 37 for obvious reasons. This might be way too high for even these two teams.
How with the Miami Dolphins have gone all in, right? And how they don't prepare for the potential to have an even remotely serviceable backup quarterback is wild to me. Skylar Thompson is awful.
Well, I don't think they're is Skylar Thompson. I don't think he's playing this week, is he? Didn't
he
they
got hurt, right?
So, yeah, he's hurt. So they're going to an even worse option.
Yeah, so they're going to.
I don't think it can be worse.
You have not watched Tim Boyle play football or attempt to play football. That
love Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Big fan.
So we have Tim Boyle on one side, and we have Will Levis on the other, who has been literally just throwing the ball to the defense most of the time.
Well, that's where the touchdowns are going to come in.
Well,
a lot of defensive scores in this game.
Maybe it's all going to be on the defense, but I was looking at this and I was like, maybe this could hit over in some capacity. And I was thinking, who's going to score on who's going to fuel the Miami side? And I'm thinking to myself, with this quarterback, we saw what happened last week with Skylar Thompson. It can't get any better than that. So for all you fantasy owners who are like Tyreek Hill and Waddle and all those guys, welcome to hell. Because you just don't know whether or not you'd even will want to play. Like, I'm questioning whether or not I should play Tyreek Hill. I might be benching Tyreek Hill, which is wild to me. So from that aspect, I'm like, if I'm benching Tyreek Hill, I know points aren't going to come from Miami. And then if I'm looking at the other side, this Tennessee team needs to be shot to the sun. They've been awful. Offensively, in general, coaching, you name it. This looks like an under all the way. I don't see points unless they're defensive scores or special team scores. It's going to be tough to get to 37. So I got under 37 Miami, Tennessee, in probably one of the worst. This might be the worst game of the week.
It's a Monday night game, Chris. Get excited, everyone.
It's a Monday
there are
night.
two Monday nighters, so I don't know if anyone's going to watch this one.
What happened the last time Dolphins and Titans played on Monday Night Football?
This?
You remember?
The Titans won on a comeback, right?
Yeah.
Will Levis
Yep.
came back.
Yep, they were down 14 with like 3 minutes to go and won.
Yes, sir.
JT's taking under 3. Yeah.
Keep in mind, we've kept this graphic up way too long, Chris, because it shows that we're both 4-8. So maybe just fade us. Just take the exact opposite picks of what we have, and you might.
So what do you pick for Pittsburgh and Indy? Since
Indy's the right side there. Don't worry about it.
No,
Don't
shut.
worry about it.
I don't know about all that.
Oh, you're not biased? Are you not biased?
I'm not biased in the slightest.
Okay, settle down.
And if
You
they
just said that the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, Rick. You're
if the
funny.
Steelers
funny.
burn me this week, I'm never betting on them ever again.
Well,
Justin Fields is that dude.
Oh no.
yeah, he's shown it in Chicago and
Oh no.
averaging 170 yards passing in Pittsburgh. He's that dude.
Need to relax on him being the dude.
I mean, how many quarterbacks have thrown for more than 170 a game? Like
Almost
five?
all of them. If you really want me to, do you really want me to pull up that stat, Rec?
Yeah,
You really
shit,
want me to?
I'm actually curious because I know passing has been way down this year. I'm legitimately curious.
I'm not, and that's the only reason why I'm nervous about it, because I'm just not sure the offense. You're just not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
So
Where is he? He is 27th in passing yards this year. 27.
Justin Fields?
But let's go to passing yards per game, because that actually is going to drop him further back. You go to per game. Where'd he go? Oh, he's 27th somehow. I don't know how that happened. Maybe they eliminate guys that haven't started enough. I don't know. Maybe not, but he's 27th. There's 32 teams in the league, Rick. So, yeah, he's pretty fucking down there. He's ahead of Skylar Thompson, Bryce Young, Jacoby Brissett, Justin Herbert, who, by the way, got hurt. So, like, asterisk, and Andy Dalton. But Andy Dalton, that's average per game because Andy Dalton came in. So, technically, he played 2 games, but he really didn't. So, like, that actually doesn't count. There's only really 3 players that have played. And Skylar Thompson came in halfway through a game. So it's really just Bryce Young and Jacoby Brissett that he's passed more yards per game than. So you found that dude.
Yep. And he's going to lead the Steelers to the promised land.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Promised land is the same promised land the Browns go to every year. The shitter.
Mott's, what's going on? It's been a while. It has been a while. How you been? Good to have you back joining us here in the Action Lab. Appreciate you. Andy Dalton is better than every Steelers quarterback in the last 5 years.
Andy Dalton played better last week than a Steelers quarterback probably has in the last 5 years. Yeah.
Russell Wilson, let's sit. Justin Fields is definitely not that dude. The only winner in the Steelers org is Mike Tomlin, says keep this.
I mean, they were literally going to start Russell Wilson.
Gosh,
So
but here's the thing. Like Rec, you said Russ might not come in. Russ goes over I mean, it's not anything big for them.
By the way, Russ is practicing this week
He's
in a limited capacity.
He's been practicing every week.
QB controversy.
It's
been
coming.
Keep in mind,
Honestly-
this is, guys, everyone. Rec also thought Kenny Pickett was the second coming, so take that for
Yeah.
what it's worth.
I mean, bad things happen when Matt Canada's your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and now that he's away from Matt Canada, he's just thriving.
But anyways,
He's gotta be a backup to learn how to quarterback properly.
Leave it to Rec to never blame the actual player throwing the ball.
Let's be real here. Name a worse offensive coordinator than Matt Canada.
Name a worse quarterback than Kenny Pickett.
Tim Boyle.
So with
That
third
was
stringer,
easy.
that's your bar. A third stringer. Cool. That's all I needed from you.
Mott's
Evil Mahomes.
Mahomes. Agreed.
No, evil. I see what
I
you're
mean, we
doing
could probably
there,
say
and
Sky.
again,
Roger.
I'm not going to fall for it.
He's that's bait. That's bait.
You've already fought for a lot. You fought for a lot already today. Fought for a lot of stuff.
Mott's good, man. Eagles defense is playing defense for once. Can't complain.
Jalen Carter has been balling out
He's-
on the interior for them.
Wasn't he fired up on the sideline or something this past week, going crazy?
Probably. Like he is probably like a ticking time bomb off the field, but on the field,
Baller.
beast.
Guys, we need you guys to again come back. This Sunday we'll be doing a stream for Sunday Night Football. We have a guest. We have Human Juke, who's one of our great friends. He does a lot of great music content on this channel, on this platform. So make sure you join us. He always brings the energy, always brings the fun. So you won't want to miss hanging out with us Sunday night for one of the pretty much the best game of the week with Bills and Ravens. So guys, hit that follow button if you are new and need to get those notifications. Otherwise, we're gonna be back live tomorrow night. We have we might do a little potpourri, a little hodgepodge of maybe some topics tomorrow. I want to talk some NBA. We might get into some baseball playoffs. We might get into a little bit of everything. So maybe we'll just do kind of a mixed bag tomorrow night for the stream and have fun with it. Keep it super loose. So tomorrow night we will be live 9:30 Eastern, 9:45 Eastern, and then Sunday, same time, right around halftime of the Sunday Night Football game. But that is going to take us to the end of our show for the week. Guys, also, too, hit us with all your fantasy questions. You could always hit all of our videos. Evil says, I missed some. Start over. You know what's a better option is going to our YouTube channel and checking out the video once it's uploaded, which should be tomorrow. So make sure you go do that. Make sure you go check that out. But love to have you guys here each and every single week.